Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by PointsBet. Use the promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. I'm Luke Stuckmeyer. Ryan Herrera is here, Corey Freedman, and Cody Delmendo. We are closing in on opening day, fellas.
The last full week without baseball?
Yeah. And we got bad news to start it, right?
Woo!
Finish
Wouldn't
off
have
the
it
week.
any
Wouldn't
other
be
way.
a Cubs season if it didn't start
Our
with some
1 month
pessimism. Yeah.
Our
world
1
is
month
ending.
anniversary, and we got a little negativity to start it.
So 4-week anniversary.
Who wants to put the news out there?
I
Wade
feel like
Miley.
Ryan should have to do it.
No.
You're the reporter,
You
Ryan.
should have to
Fine,
report it.
fine. So Wade Miley, what was it? He had elbow soreness, and they did MRI, and he got some inflammation in his elbow. So David Ross says they're going to shut him down for at least 10 days, and that 6 days from now is opening day, which means he will likely start the season on the IL if he's not,
Right.
I mean,
That's code for at least a month.
Yeah, so he'll probably start the season on the IL. A guy that was penciled in as the number 3 starter for the Chicago Cubs starting rotation, and now they kind of have to fill that spot. And again, they said he's not on the IL yet. He very well could be 10 days from now. He could be fine to go in 15 days. So we're just gonna let him miss one turn through the rotation, whatever. I don't know
Did he
for
show
sure.
up with soreness though? Has he pitched at all? No. At Cactus League action?
He threw a live bullpen on Sunday. They said it wasn't pitching itself.
Right.
That was where the soreness was during his windup. So I don't know where in the windup that was coming, but that's where he felt the soreness. He didn't come in with it. But
I mean, if he hasn't pitched in Cactus League, clearly something's been bothering him since he got there. They're saying now it just bothered him, but obviously something else was going on.
I think they said that it's not since that live bullpen that it happened. It was a little before, but I guess from the beginning, what they were saying was that he was just slow ramping up. Maybe they were not saying that he was sore. Maybe he was sore at the time, but from what we know at the beginning of camp, that he was just on a slower schedule of ramping up for the season. And then he had that live bullpen and he looked good. But around I think maybe around that time, a little before, is when he kind of started having that soreness in the elbow. Again, not from they said not. Ross said it wasn't while he was pitching. It was just somewhere in his windup, in his motion, that he could feel it.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
I don't know.
I don't know if that's a good or bad thing.
We might have to get Ryan in the alley, start working on the cutter.
I threw one.
Up in the rotation.
I threw one curveball in my baseball career, and I struck somebody out with it. So I'm done pitching for the rest of my life.
It's like when I beat you at ping pong the other
That
day.
doesn't
I
count.
retired.
He'd be the shortest guy on the roster.
I would be. Oh,
Wow.
Hold on.
A dagger to
Madrigal's
start.
I was gonna
short
say.
too, isn't
I
he?
think he's a little bit taller. Than
Okay.
me.
But yeah, no, what you really love, 6 days before opening day is your 35-year-old
Yeah.
third starter in an already, kind of depthless rotation having some soreness and inflammation. That's really great. Really awesome stuff to kick off this season.
He was the one depth piece that you were excited about going into this season, where you were like, okay, the Cubs have a third starter that can hang with a lot of the third starters in Major League Baseball. You have a legitimate number 3 on this roster, and then the concern was 4 or 5 who fills in. Now you're trying to fill in 3, 4, 5, and hope that Hendricks rebounds to what he was prior to last year. So who does this open it up for? That's the question. Yeah, obviously Alec Mills, Smiley, and
Justin Steele.
Right?
I think we weren't sure if Steele was going to get
He
that
has to.
look.
He has
I know
to now.
we
No,
heard
yeah,
about
he's
Mills, we heard
definitely
about
now.
Smiley, but you assumed that Steele was going to be in there.
Well, on Tuesday, Ross said he's like that. I think the expectation is for him to be in. I'm going to see if I can find the quote real quick.
So now you have to add another
But
one?
now
If
he's definitely
in the
get
mix. So now there's
starts, yeah.
another guy that has to be added if you're going to go
So it
6.
was, I think the specific words were, there's a strong chance Justin Steele will be in the rotation. Obviously, with Miley out, he
Stronger.
has to be.
Yeah.
I don't know if they go with the 6th man. I think maybe they go with the 5. Again, they haven't put Miley on the IL yet, but they were going to have that. They were going to have that because they had the 4 games and then a day off. So they were going to have him miss the turn through the rotation anyway. And so maybe they keep the Keegan Thompson as that multi-inning guy, the piggyback guy. Maybe they, Daniel Norris, who knows maybe he could go 3 innings and he could be a piggyback guy. I think they were going with 6. I think they were going to have Miley in there. Steele was going to be that 5th starter, and then Miley was obviously going to pick up his turn back. I think 6 was kind of like what the feeling was going into it. Now with Miley out, I don't think Thompson gets, like, just on opening day, he's not going to be listed as a starting pitcher. He might get a spot start at some point in this next first couple weeks of the season, but I feel like they might, like, Ross might stick to the 5 starters and then, see where things are at after like a week.
It kind of felt like 6 was at least to start, maybe because Miley was a little behind, so that's why they were looking at 6. I think you've talked about this a lot. It might depend pretty heavily on whether guys are ready to go and unleash 90, 100 pitches, throw 6, 7 innings. If some of these guys are still a little behind, then maybe you see an extra start or 2 from some of these guys. But yeah, this is a blow, at least to start, because now you also have to worry about, like, even let's say it's a month, right? And Miley comes back, again, older pitcher, like, now it's going to be in the back of your head, like, is he going to get to 100% at some point in this season? And I don't mean to be pessimistic, but, again, like, pitcher injuries are, you see it with Jacob deGrom, right? This happens all the time. It just happened again. It's sometimes these things linger, and it's not good.
I felt really disappointed for the Cubs when I heard about it. I still do. But you have to look at it as an opportunity. And then Corey and Lawrence brought in Do Right Donuts today. So that kind of turned my spirits around a little bit. It was a little bit of a lift for me, I got great energy going for me now. But one guy that was not doing well today was Cody. I saw it on social media. You were very upset by this. Have you calmed down at all?
No. I'm not great. Just sucks. I'm someone who's trying to find a reason to believe in this team going into the opening day. You can call me a moron if you want, but that's just how I'm built. It's a special type of formula to be like me, I guess, in a way. So this doesn't help, but now it definitely gives Steele a chance to work in and out of the bumps of being a young starter in baseball. And whether Miley was in there or not, I was after last year I was like, Steele deserves a shot in the rotation, because I thought that he pitched well towards the end of 2021, and I think this solidifies it now, unfortunately, because of an injury. So if you want my optimistic outlook on it, it's like, okay, Steele's going to get some starts. If he pitches well, when Miley comes back, you add him into the mix, and you have Steele, who throws harder than him, Hendricks, and probably even Stroman. So you get a little bit of a difference maker in there compared to the rest. And then, that last spot between Smiley and Mills will be decided. I don't know, because I don't think they're going to do 6-man all season. I think it's just the start of the year because of, the fast spring training and all that. So that's my optimistic outlook on it, is that Steele comes in and he takes advantage of the opportunity. I think he has. I mean, Ryan, you did the on-field interview with him when you were in Arizona.
He's just here to get people out.
Yeah, he just seems like a guy who, can take advantage of the opportunity. He did that last year when they called him up and he was in the bullpen. He was honestly one of the best arms in the bullpen last year whenever the team still had the core. And then when they traded them all and he got the chance to be a starter, yeah, it was a bumpy start, but towards the end, in my opinion, he got better.
He had that really good
He had a really good start
in September, yeah.
Yeah, he had a really good start against Pittsburgh.
7 innings,
I don't care if
7
it is
Ks.
Pittsburgh. You still you have a good start, and it builds confidence. I'm sure he has thought about that start all winter, and I feel like he's had some good outings here in the spring. So, yeah, you want me there? There's my spin zone. Is like, this is a great opportunity for Justin Steele to really earn a spot in that rotation. If you want my pessimistic outlook on it, it's like this rotation and just pitching depth in general for the Cubs isn't good. So any injuries like this, it only hurts not only the staff but like the team in general, and that means that the Cubs are going to have to go to other guys who are already unproven, and it probably isn't going to lead to many wins. So yeah, I mean, all in all, it's not great, but to me, it's like giving another guy a chance. How many times have we seen guys who you never know what they're going to do because you don't know if they're going to get the opportunity? Well, Steele has a chance now, and we'll see what happens, man. It's just it just really sucks because I really thought Miley would just be a solid like innings eater to start the year for the Cubs, and he brings a veteran presence and all that stuff.
Now you hope he does starting in May sometime.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I saw we were down there and he was still like trying to throw like 15 pitch bullpens, 20 pitch bullpens, it was just kind of like he's certainly not going to be ready to start the season. I think we all it wasn't said out loud, but I think everyone kind of figured that was the case. And then now this happened. It's a tough blow for the rotation. I think he was penciled in as your number 3, a guy that's going to eat up some inning, get some outs, and
Right.
it's not going to be Zach Davies. But now,
I mean, we just got the news about DeGrom earlier, man. Like, there's a lot of pitchers' injuries to start
Garrett
the season.
Crochet.
To start, yeah, Garrett Crochet for the White Sox last night. Like, it's weird, and it's kind of similar to last year after the innings ramp up after 2020. I didn't think it'd be that big of a deal before spring training started, but I mean, clearly it's showing all across baseball. So again, hopefully it's, we see him early, mid-May, and, he can, give us 20 starts, or I guess it'd be more like 25 starts.
What'd you guys think of
uh-oh.
We've got news.
Was that all right?
We have news.
Good news or bad news?
Is this bad? Is this
Oh, fuck me. No.
What is happening?
No.
is this Madrigal?
I can't see it.
No, that is Contreras.
Whoa.
Yankees
I can't
acquire
read it.
all-star catcher Wilson
this happening
Contreras
live
from the
on the
Cubs
air?
for
Nice.
prospects.
Yo.
So Friday
What?
just got worse. Friday just got worse.
Hold on. How long ago was that?
Unbelievable.
The Yankees have acquired all-star center or catcher
Elijah
Wilson Contreras from
Dunham.
the
Who
Cubs.
the hell is that?
Wow.
Yankees Contreras expected to talk multi-year extension. All right,
Hold on.
so this is a Friday to forget.
Are we just going to let this take over the rest of the...
Doesn't seem like a huge haul that you would expect.
It's terrible.
I don't know
Yo,
any of these
what?
players, so it's hard for me to even react.
That is...
Unbelievable.
Is
Wait.
Nick Madrigal in there too? Is that...
Where is
What-
this?
Where's-
Jeff Passan tweeted it apparently.
Am I
Are we
not
sure that's the
seeing
real
this on
Jeff
Twitter?
Passan?
Yeah, I see it.
Are
Are
we
you
this-
sure this isn't April Fool's?
Jeff
Joey might
Passan,
be April
like-
Foolsing us.
Wait, when did he...
Oh, I've got it here. It is on my April Fool's feed,
Oh,
you
guys
suckers.
You guys
Woo! Grandpa
Wow.
Stucky with the zinger.
Oh my God, that was nuts. Wait, what
Well
was
done,
that?
Joey. We got him. Look at Cody. He almost left.
I literally hate all of you.
Cody almost left the show.
I almost just
Corey's over
walked
here.
off the set.
Corey's
I almost
over here. Wait a
got
minute.
up,
I don't see it.
ran
I was
into
gonna say,
traffic.
like, what the hell?
Because I'm trained in this, right? I went straight to Twitter to try to verify this, and I
Yeah.
couldn't see it. So I was at least a little skeptical.
Well,
Because I know to look for those fake trade
Ryan
rumors,
looks at the
you know?
screen. Jeff Passan saying it.
That's what I said. Is that the real? Is that the real Jeff Passan? And I'm literally on Jeff Passan's.
I am
Unbelievable.
0-8.
I didn't think they'd fall for
0-8
it.
gambling the last 2 days,
Oh.
and then you do this to me.
I was
like,
skeptical.
This is not
I was
fair.
skeptical.
Cody's about
I was
to light
skeptical.
this set
I'm
on
literally on
fire.
Jeff Passan's looking up his tweets to see if
I
he
will
actually
not
tweeted that.
forget this.
I was
Yeah.
very skeptical.
My time will
You know,
come.
you know what the
God.
best part
All right,
is?
all right.
That
Oh, my
Joey
God.
thought it was going to work, and I'm like, I don't know. Cody was just on the All CHGO podcast
man.
yesterday, and I was so angry because Kevin Kaduk is like
Unbelievable.
doing April Fool's jokes, and Cody's like, I never fall for the fake trades that happen on April Fools.
Wow.
I will say this, Luke. That was very
Yo,
good.
You got Mike Dub all worked up
This might
too.
be your
Mike
legendary
Dub,
moment.
Mike
Mike
Dub's
Dub's
got
pissed
it.
at you. Good
Damn
job,
you,
Man, you
Grandpa
can't
Mike
sleep
Dub.
on the
I
old
just
man,
threw my
let me
hat
tell
and
you.
dropped an
Oh, no, it was
F-bomb
me and
and a
Corey.
hard F.
Me and Corey were doing the right thing. We were going to verify the source.
Well, and so like I'm in enough like Cubs Twitter DM groups that nobody was saying anything.
Literally.
So I was like, wait a minute, like this either just happened and nobody's tweeted it, or something's. I forgot it was April Fool's Day, but if I can't see it on Passan's feed right away, I was
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, like what is Joey looking
Cody.
at that I don't
Well,
see?
I read it, and I'm not gonna
It was
lie.
so
like,
good.
when we read that, I'm like, no fucking way. And then I went to my Cubs news. I'm gonna tweet that thing. I'm looking. No one's tweeted it. I'm like, then I look and it said Jeff Passan. I'm like, okay, Jeff Passan had to have tweeted it. And why not?
Those were
graphic
good.
is
Did you make
graphics.
that?
Really
Yes,
graphic
he's
is
been
very
making them
good.
for like, what,
Yeah.
3 or 4 days? I came up with it earlier
You
in the
made
week.
that? Are we gonna?
Earlier. I was like, we've got to make it a reporter that they can't look up right away. It's got to be like a New York reporter and find some actual prospects that we had never heard of.
Who were these?
Luke was
Yeah.
ready with the sales job too. Of like
was
that
that?
hall sucks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
who
I
are
was
these
like,
guys?
oh,
Was
this
that
is ruined.
Elijah Dunlap?
I also knew we couldn't let it go much longer because I could just see Corey scrolling
That's
through his
what I
Twitter
was
feed.
doing. That's what I was doing too.
Cody
all-
wasn't
you-
looking. He was just, he
you
really
all-
embraced the whole
Cody's.
thing.
If we could, Joey, can you animate steam coming out of Cody's ears like live on the
Stucky.
show?
I definitely fell for the trap.
I'll give it to you,
It's-
Stucky. You won this
I'm
battle.
always built ready to be
You
hurt
won this
again.
battle, but one of us will win the next battle.
Yeah.
I brought you
My
a
time will
donut,
come.
Luke.
Yes.
My time will come.
If you listen,
How could
Corey,
you?
I let you in on it. If you will check your Slack direct messages,
Whoa.
I said, just go with it when it happens, because I was like, he's going to be the one. I could see you on Twitter. I'm like, he's going to be the one that finds it right away.
Unbelievable.
And so I'm going to have to set up the other two.
What were we
Somebody's going to have to take the fall, and it's going
Someone
to have to be
says
Cody.
sorry, not sorry, Cody.
What were we
Damn,
talking about
man.
before this?
Oh, is that Lawrence? Okay.
What were we
Damn,
talking
Lawrence.
about before this?
That was a
Cody,
good.
we've
Is it
gotta-
because I didn't like your
we've got-
tweets?
We've
Damn.
got to find him on the All CHGO podcast yesterday.
Wait, the Dash Law,
I couldn't
Lawrence?
believe you said it yesterday. I never fall for the fake
I am
trades
pretty
on
good.
April Fools. I
You
was like-
showed
I was
looked
all
like
right,
an
no shot.
ESPN article, bro. It wasn't a tweet.
that
Okay,
looked
you
really
did show
good.
a tweet,
Well,
but like,
Yeah.
I saw Joey pulling it up too. I'm like, what is he grabbing off
One
ESPN?
of my only objections here. That was a very well executed
that's good.
play, but for that kind of trade, that horn was way too upbeat.
Yeah, that was.
For Wilson getting traded, we
That's
need
the
a
breaking
more
news.
like bum bum bum,
man.
something
And
like
KC
that.
sat down with the camera and was filming him. Like, I wonder if
Yeah.
they're going to be like, why is she taking
I didn't
video
even
of this?
I thought it was
didn't-
just a Friday like.
well,
picture thing.
honestly, I thought it was real because she was sitting there recording us. Because like, obviously, they want our reaction. Like,
Yeah.
we are
Oh,
content. You know what I mean? Like,
Ferris says they will not
Like-
show April Fool's jokes at Bushwood, sir. As a t-shirt. And I never
Unbelievable.
slice.
Unbelievable. That's gonna be good social content, Casey.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
You're all
It's gonna be very
welcome.
good.
Well, I didn't have that in the rundown for the show, so we're going to figure out what.
Well,
you know what
we were talking about Wade Miley.
if
You're
it
talking about
happens
Kimbrel.
now, if it actually does happen,
It was a good trial run.
That's usually what happens is you do something like that, and then it sparks real
Okay,
life.
other updates. Andrelton Simmons, light throwing again today. I don't think he'll be
Is this a
ready for
joke?
opening day. No, that
Very
was
Okay,
exciting.
just making sure.
That was Maddie Lee tweeted it out earlier. I'm
very
sure all
exciting.
the Cubs beat writers tweeted it earlier, but I did see Maddie, Jordan, and Megan, all my friends.
I was joking with you guys before we got on the air that we all spent months or at least weeks talking about Carlos Correa maybe playing at Wrigley
Yeah.
Field. But can I interest all of you in updates on Andrelton Simmons throwing? Is that a good substitute for all the Cubs fans out there? No Correa, but Andrelton Simmons shoulder inflammation,
been
stuff
throwing.
like that.
He's
How
light-
about
light
that
throwing.
for an
Third-
exciting way to start your
Third time
weekend?
this week. Third
Got
time
that
this
going
week.
for
Light
us,
throwing.
which is nice.
I'm so
Great.
excited to hear
Oh,
about Andrelton Simmons' injury
Okay.
status.
And we have
all
Nick
season.
Madrigal, who was scratched today.
Right.
Just leg fatigue, but coming off.
I don't know what that is. I guess just tired legs, they're going to say?
I've never heard that before,
He
but
did tear
coming
his
off a year where
ACL.
he missed the year with leg injuries,
Yeah,
it's,
slow
again,
down.
another in the line
Maybe
of
he
like
just-
this isn't super
Maybe he just
exciting.
did legs too hard and
I think Chris Bryant had that a couple times in spring training.
training.
Yeah. What do you think of Kimbrel to the Dodgers, the former Cub?
They need a closer.
I mean,
They
I
got
think the
one.
Sox got a pretty good deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
AJ
definitely.
Pollock.
I
Good
mean,
move for them.
I thought the most they would get for Kimbrel is a couple, prospects that are really young that you wouldn't like see for at least 3 or 4 years, if in terms of like potential value. But to get an actual major leaguer who's actually productive, what you said he was a 3-WAR player last year.
Last year, Pollock, yeah.
That's pretty solid. I think, you tip your hat to Rick Hahn. But I think a lot of, maybe at the same time, a lot of us maybe thought, one bad half season doesn't define the value of Craig Kimbrel and everything he's done throughout his career at the same time.
Well, yeah,
So-
and if we're talking about closer, like him, he should have been a closer, and like him getting thrown in the 8th and 7th inning was outside of his comfort zone. The Dodgers needed a closer. Craig
Right.
Kimbrel's a closer, and they got a Hall of Fame worthy closer.
Yeah.
So
If you had to pick 3 teams that you think will win the National League pennant? Dodgers are 1 for sure.
Dodgers are probably also number 2.
Who are your other 2? I mean, there's a couple really good choices you could go with, but like
I would
Dodgers.
go the Braves.
Braves,
I mean,
yeah.
Braves
Braves.
defending
Right.
champs.
I
I think the Phillies are good. I think the Mets are good.
I said I was gonna pick the Mets to actually win that division over the Braves until this DeGrom news went down. So now I'm gonna have to go
yeah,
change it.
agreed.
That's
I
tough
have
for
to
them.
go change it. Braves.
The Phillies are interesting. Like I saw a picture of all those hitters walking out that their staff took, and seeing Schwarber, Castellanos, Realmuto, Hoskins, Harper, like all in a line
Yeah.
like that. I was like, okay, this is interesting. I don't know if they'll be able to pitch to get it done. I think the San Francisco Giants are still an interesting team. Like they brought in Carlos Rodon. Like they made some other moves this offseason. Obviously, they lose KB, and you still have a very old position group. Like, can they repeat that? Crawford, et cetera? Like, I don't know. But
What about Brewers and Padres?
I mean, I'm not going to say the over my dead body, Luke.
I was
They have the easiest path to the postseason.
I was thinking Padres maybe just because when they do
comes
get
back,
Tatis
yeah.
back,
The Padres really
They're
shit
good.
their pants last year.
Yeah, that's
though,
what-
and
what's the
why it's
pitching?
kinda
They had no
Will they
hard.
do that again? Right.
they had no pitching last year. They gotta hope that it's better this year. But
If I had to choose a team in the Central that could just find a way to get to the pennant, it would be St. Louis, just based off the history of what they do.
I think
Now, is this an April Fool's joke?
No, but
okay.
I'm actually kind of serious about it. It pains
never
me to
thought you'd
say
say it.
It pains me to say. When you look at their roster, we're going to talk about their outfield later in the show. I know if Flattery isn't healthy all season, then I would change my mind. But they do have, in my opinion, I think their roster is better than Milwaukee's top as far as offense, defense, pitching, all the together. When you look at the Brewers, I feel like they're very pitching heavy. Their pitching will carry them as far as they can go. Will they get enough offense? I don't know, but I don't think you can. I think you can say that the Cardinals, at least in the Central, have all 3 facets more than them. And if you're forcing me to choose one and not be a homer and pick the Cubs, then I would say it. It pains me to freaking say it. I hope that I am wrong. I hope that they go they win 60 games. But if they stay healthy, they can play like the team that they did in September of last year.
I just wouldn't put money on it, Cody. If I were going to points bet right now, my choice would not be the Cardinals, but I think the Dodgers have to be the clear-cut favorite. And Kimbrel is only going to help them.
Cody,
It's hard to bet.
big Yachty Molina and the Cardinals fan, Delmendo over here. That's what
Wow.
I'm hearing.
I'm going to need you to retract that.
I think I do retract that.
Thank you.
I know.
We
what
can be
you're
friends
saying.
now.
I think the Brewers are dangerous because they're just one of those teams where, like you said, the path in the division isn't particularly difficult. And
They have great pitching.
You get Burns and Woodruff, especially in a playoff series. You see it all the time where pitching can totally win you a championship. I would, look at. I think the Braves are really strong. I mean, replacing Freeman with Olsen as quickly as they did is a very solid move when you're losing someone the caliber of Freddie Freeman. And they won the World Series without Ronald Acuna. So he's coming back, should be healthy. They should be, maybe not just as dangerous, but very dangerous. But
I think they'll be more dangerous.
If the Brewers
They might
sneak
be
in,
more dangerous.
I said the Giants too. Just looking at them, I also read the other day that Alex Cobb was touching 98 miles an hour. I think last year he was throwing 94. So I don't know if he hopped into Driveline or one of those places that kind of bumps the velo, but Logan Webb was great. Carlos Rodon, Desclafani, Alex Wood, Alex Cobb, if he's throwing 98 miles an hour, it's an interesting team. They're not better than the Dodgers, but they surprised a lot of people last year. I wouldn't write them off.
Well, we'll talk more about this next week as we go through all of our predictions, but I just think it's interesting. There's some really good teams in the National League, and most of them aren't in the Cubs division. So that's why, we've looked at the Miley injury back to the beginning of the show, and you say, well, I'm not saying they're going to win the World Series, but they do have a path to the postseason if everything goes right because of the division they're in. So we'll just see how it plays out. Cody, you want to tell us about PointsBet, our great sponsor?
Yeah, I love PointsBet because you can bet on MLB futures, and we're talking about the World Series and all that. And, you can bet the Cubs to win the World Series like we talked about with Cap. David Kaplan the other day at plus 10,000, $100 wins you 10 grand. I don't know. It could happen. It might not happen, but either way, you can do it at PointsBet, which is the best way to support CHGO is to download the PointsBet app and use code CHGO when you sign up. If you do that right now, you can get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. But that's not it. If you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content, and you'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. That's $2,000 in free bets, a free CHGO membership, and a free T-shirt from the CHGO locker, all for making more than a $50 first-time deposit at PointsBet. If you have any questions, you can email pointsbet@allchgo.com, and we'll help you out. You're home for live in-play betting just got even better. Introducing PointsBet's new feature, live college basketball same-game parlay. For the first time ever, you can build the perfect live same-game parlay only with PointsBet. Combine your favorite bets anytime during the game. Want more? You can also boost your live same-game parlays. Watch live, parlay live, and boost live with PointsBet. And now, online sign-up is available in Illinois. You can download the PointsBet app right now and register your account from start to finish, all from your phone. And I say it every day. If Luke can do it, you all can do it too. It's that easy. Plus, during PointsBet Match Madness, all users can earn up to $100 in free bets during each round. Just place a $50 pregame wager and get a free $20 live bet to be used for that round. With the Final Four this weekend, this is honestly your last chance. So get in on that now. So what are you waiting for? Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
Real quick, Luke.
Yeah.
I'm going out with the PointsBet. I'm going to add to this PointsBet because we love PointsBet so much. I have created the anti-evil parlay. So I'm wearing my Mizzou hat. I got a UNC shirt on.
Okay, all right.
UNC, we hate Duke. Mizzou, we hate Kansas. I'm going the anti-evil parlay. I parlayed Moneyline Villanova and Moneyline North Carolina for tomorrow.
Yeah.
I got it at like 549, but even more value, you can get it at plus 615 now. So whoever's riding with me, we hate Duke, we hate Kansas. If both of them win, I'm not watching the championship game on Monday. Let's go. Let's go. Anti-evil parlay. Ride with me.
Let's see if it pays off for him.
My future bet on Duke is still alive, so I
Ride
guess.
with me. The
it is what it
anti-evil parlay. All right, go ahead.
There's some teams in the Final Four that a lot of people don't like around the country.
Oh, definitely.
Like
Sure.
very
No one
popular
likes the
teams
Blue
to
Bloods
bash.
unless you're
Right,
a person
unless
who
you're
likes
one of
them.
their fans.
Yes.
CHGO, what are we doing? Well, we're a month old, and we're doing podcasts and live shows every team, every day, post-game shows. Coming up starting Thursday for our Cubs games. Opening day, we'll have a nice hour-long post-game show for you. We'll have some pregame shows throughout the season as well. Premium written content for members at the allchgo.com section, which, of course, Ryan's going to be heading out to the ballpark, writing great articles, working the clubhouse. And the dope merch is arriving as we speak. I've had some people starting to tweet at me, my dope merch has been shipped. My dope merch has been
Mike
shipped.
Dubs did that on Twitter today.
Yeah. You get a free shirt when you become a member in the members-only Discord, the CHGO Lounge. Before we get to the second segment here, I do want to go back to the April's Fool joke for a second. I was just thinking to myself how great I was, and I pulled that off. No. I was thinking about when you commented Jeff Passan, because I didn't know all of the fake tweets that Joey had made. So when you're talking about, I got it here, Jeff Passan, I almost tapped you like, Ryan's in on this. I didn't know somebody told Ryan. I thought Ryan was in on it. And then I looked up and I saw the Jeff Passan fake tweet from Joey. I'm like, he's not in on it. No. He's hook, line, and sinker like the other two.
I was looking at. I was verifying the source. I was looking on Twitter to make sure Jeff Passan had tweeted it, and he didn't.
He had not.
Clearly.
Maybe Jeff Passan.
I was maybe 1 or 2 seconds away from calling you out because I was like scrolling down. I'm like, we're on 4 hours.
I was
now.
1 or 2 seconds away from stomping off the set. Oh my god! I will admit that I was fleeced. You guys.
It happens.
Completely.
It happens. It happens.
Completely.
All right. So today we're finishing up our look at the NL Central, right? And we're trying to see where the Cubs rank at each position, to see if that aligns with maybe where people are picking them first, second, third, whatever in the division. Let's start at the bottom of the outfield. We're just going to include the outfield as one position. And it doesn't have to necessarily be the starting three. It can be, you could talk about their depth at outfield. I think it's fair, as almost every position, to put the Pirates last. There's some pretty good outfielders in the NL Central. Brian Reynolds probably the best for the Pirates, right? But
easily.
But also in trade talks, potentially. Trade rumors right now. So if he goes, you're left with Alford, Allen, and Gamble. It sounds more like a law firm than it does necessarily a great outfield in the Central. So would you agree? Can we all agree Pirates last in the division with outfield?
Yeah. I mean, I think between like the bottom three teams in the division, he's probably the best of the outfielders, but just overall the Pirates.
Right,
probably,
but he's just one guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Can't cover the entire outfield.
But
he's good.
So then it's very common. We've had the same theme. Next up the ladder, generally the Reds. Who do you like in the Reds outfield? Anybody on there that you're like, okay?
Tyler Naquin.
Yeah.
Hey,
Tyler Naquin, Cubs World Series hero. If you remember dropping that fly ball.
Well, he had a good start to last year, didn't he? And then got hurt, and then it was kind of with Winker and Castellanos. Like it was hard to get him playing time along with Senzel.
Honestly, like if they still had Castellanos and Winker, you could argue them having the best outfield in the
for sure. But they just gave him away.
Yeah,
free agency but also trade. Tommy Pham, the former Cardinal. So we put the Cubs in at third. We tried not to be total homers on it. Look at it as all right. Left field's probably Happ/Frazier. Center field's probably Hayward/
Hermosillo,
Ortega now.
Maybe Ortega, right?
Now with Miley hurt.
I'm gonna say I've with the Simmons thing, and if he starts the season on the IL, there's a spot that it should go to Ortega, is what I'm gonna say. But still don't have any clarity on Simmons. We're like a week away from opening day, but I guess we don't have to use Ortega in this depth.
But you also add Suzuki to the mix too. That he's another obviously huge wild card. But I mean, you could see a way that you build an all National League Central outfield and you're trying to pick the best guys. I mean, it's not unthinkable to think that Suzuki could be in that list. He could be the best right fielder by the end of this season. He also might just be an average player. We just don't know. Right. So that's another reason there's a lot of question marks for the Cubs. There's no definite player out there where you can say this guy is an all-star or this guy is... There's just a lot of question marks. There's plenty of potential, but there's a lot of question marks. The Brewers have less question marks, so that's why we had to put them above that. Christian Yelich is still a question mark. We don't know what he's going to be this year. He could go back to being one of the best players, or he could go back to being what we've seen the last few, which hasn't been very good. But they still have some good outfielders.
He won't go back to that. He ripped Yu Darvish on Twitter, and he's forever cursed for. He tried to apologize for that. He tried to walk that back this offseason, but it's like 2 years too late, my friend.
Yeah,
you're cursed. Like that's the 7 WAR seasons are not happening anymore because you tried to talk shit to Yu Darvish on Twitter.
Well, remember there was like articles talking about how Yelich might be better than like Mike Trout. A couple years ago, and then
he was that good.
Well, I think he was ranked 100th on the top 100 MLB players this year.
And I think that was too high.
Yeah, 100.
But he was still on like the fall from like people putting you up with Mike Trout to like number 100 out of 100.
That's what happens when you are mean to Yu Darvish on Twitter. This is what happens. I mean,
makes perfect sense.
Ball don't lie.
I will say Locaine is very good.
He's a good player.
If he could stay healthy. He got hurt a couple times last year, but when he was
his 18
on the field,
season really just made me want to like punch him in the face. He was so good.
Yeah, but when he's on the field, he is an incredible defensive center fielder.
Yeah.
Wasn't Ron yesterday was big on Renfroe?
Yeah, Hunter Renfroe.
And McCutcheon's part of that group now.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's older, but still he's
McCutcheon hurt you?
Well, he's just a guy you like seeing succeed. He's a fun guy on social media. Like, I just wish
when he was on the Pirates, I didn't even like have disdain for him. Like, he's just a good dude. Like, it's kind of like Joey Votto for the Reds.
Right.
Like, maybe it's because they play for 2 franchises in the Central that just historically haven't like bruised my soul or anything like that. But like, McCutcheon was one of those guys that you're like, this guy's a stud.
I don't hate this guy.
Yeah,
Joey Votto was a likable.
Major. Even though he's
not
like,
just a great player, his personality seems to be fun.
But like the thing with the both of them, like they've hurt the Cubs plenty of times, but like, and it sucks when it happens, but like I just don't like, I don't have a disdain for them. So it's like it's just a little different dynamic with
I
those
always
two
love
guys.
that the GIF reaction of McCutchen in center when he was with, I'm pretty sure still the Pirates, when Strop took that like pinch hit appearance, and because Strop used to be a shortstop, so he ripped the ball to center. McCutchen catches, and the camera catches him. Like, did he just hit that like that? That was Pedro Strop, the relief pitcher, right?
Because he had his hat to the
What?
side, I think.
Yeah.
So we gave the Cardinals their due, and we put them at the top. You could argue that the Brewers could be up there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
But
there's
Tyler O'Neill had a great season last year. Dylan Carlson, like, is a stud.
Dylan Carlson was in the Rookie of the Year talks the
Yeah.
entire year. Like, he's
And
going to
then
be a very good player.
Harrison Bader, even though like he has the most punchable face in baseball outside of Yadier Molina, he's solid out there too.
He's a great defender. Great.
Yeah.
I don't think he's won a Gold Glove yet, but great defender. I think he's always in like that conversation.
Yeah.
but hasn't won it. You mentioned Tyler O'Neill. Like, I interviewed him once, and the dude's forearms are like bigger than my quads. Like, he's gigantic.
It took him a little bit to
Yeah.
develop because he's been with the Cardinals for a while, but like they were high on him and they
Well,
waited it out with him, and it's kind of, I mean, last year was like his breakout season.
Yeah,
we'll
no,
see if he can replicate that, if there's any question there. But Carlson, I think, is their best outfielder, like long term.
It's one of the outfield is one of the strengths of their team for sure.
For sure, yeah.
Oh my God. Tyler O'Neill ended up with 34 home runs. I didn't realize that was that
He
many.
had a huge
That's a lot of
year.
home runs.
He had a huge year, yeah.
See if they can
9-12.
repeat it, but because like for Carlson and O'Neill, like kind of that first year, like you said, putting it all together, like getting all those plate appearances. But if you're looking at the performance last year, I think it's the Cardinals, and unfortunately, it's not particularly close.
So I think if we look back at every position, I'm just trying to go through them in my head. Catcher's the only one where the Cubs we put first, correct?
Yeah,
I believe
so. Yeah.
And was there a position where we put the Cubs last? No, because they're in a division with the Pirates and the Reds. So they were supported by that. So, I mean, I do feel like the average, if we went back and took every rank, I would say it's probably third.
Yeah, which
That's
I
about
think
right.
is
Yeah.
I think it's like
a realistic outlook, yes.
The Cardinals and the Brewers are more often than not first and second on our list, and
In
they're
every
probably
position.
going to be the first and
Yep.
second team in the division at the end of the year. Cubs, yeah, again, like average of third, and then they're going to end up being third, and the Pirates and Reds usually in the bottom two, and they're probably going to be bottom two in the division. I mean, again, over 162, I guess you don't really know, but from what the outlook preseason right now, I think that's just kind of the order of how this division's going. So the position rankings make sense.
I think that's
Right.
how you would look at it. Like the Reds and the Pirates, I think, are clearly going to be bad.
Well, they're tanking, yeah.
And had they not made their trades and let Castellanos go in free agency, maybe the Reds are more in the mix.
Yeah.
I think they
Oh,
would have been in a
100%.
similar
For sure.
spot. Like I think the Cubs are in a spot where like they're decidedly in the middle. They could end up at the bottom. There's a lot of scenarios, as we've talked about, if some of these things don't pan out, if more of these injuries keep piling up, they could end up at the bottom. There's also stuff goes well, things hit, like you said, say a Suzuki in Rookie of the Year talks, things like that. Maybe they creep their way up, right? But I think in the middle is probably where they belong. The Reds and the Pirates have much less chance of like what the Cubs do of
Right.
maybe kind of sneaking their way up. So yeah, I think three.
It's going to be
is
interesting to
spot.
see how the Cubs compete against Milwaukee next week. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I know it's the opening series. I know it's April and the weather and all that. But, like, if the Cubs compete with Milwaukee, I feel like that's – even if they were to lose 2 or 3, I just feel like that for the – I don't want to say it sets the tone for the season, but it's like a – like, hey, we're not as bad as what everyone's expecting type thing.
It's a 4-game series, by the way.
Oh, is it a 4-game series? Okay. So, yeah, even if they split it then. Like,
right.
if they split that series, I know I'll be sitting here like,
Well, especially considering they're going to go up against Corbin Burns, Brandon Woodruff, and Freddie Peralta,
Right.
and Adrian Hauser. Like, if they can take 2 of those, that's
Right.
impressive.
right.
I
So,
was going to say, like, just also don't panic if they don't score a lot of runs in that series because that is one of the best 3-4 pitchers they're going to throw at you.
I think that
Anywhere in baseball.
I think that top 3 is the best in baseball. I can't, like, off the top of my head, think of a better top 3. Maybe
well,
the
before
Mets
DeGrom
at
got
one,
hurt, you could argue him and
Dodgers
Scherzer.
maybe.
Yeah, Dodgers with,
I mean, that Corbin
yeah.
Burns, Cy Young, Woodruff was right there, and Freddie Peralta's like probably a dark horse Cy Young candidate. Like that's rotation is going to be tough, but if they split that series, like that's pretty impressive.
Right. And the only reason I really said any of that is like early in the season, no team is like in mid-season form. So it's like, to me, for the Cubs at least, for them to evaluate the way that we want them to evaluate with some of these guys, like if you get some early season, cool storylines, like there's whether there's wins or losses, we'll have things excited to talk about. So that's why I said if we came in here on Monday or 2 Mondays from now and the Cubs have split with Milwaukee, I'd be pretty happy about it. You know what I mean?
Be a good start to the season.
It's only April, but you want a good start. This is one of those seasons, kind of like last year, obviously very different, but like if it starts slow, you kind of will be able to fill in how it's going to go, right? Like you're going to head to the trade deadline, you're going to try to flip some guys, whatever. It would be nice even if it's a few weeks, a month, 2 months, like we can enjoy things.
Yeah, tease
flirt
me
with
for a
the
couple
idea,
months, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Of
You're gonna need
competitiveness.
You're going to need some guys to step up, though. With Alzolay and Miley not there now, you're going to need some arms to step up, and you're going to need some of these question mark bats to show what they can do early in the season to make it interesting so that you're still around if these guys do come back and when they do come back. I saw Cubs Twitter posted some of the best pitchers, hits and home runs, because the DH is coming in. We're just not going to see it anymore. Thought it'd be fun to just kind of think back on some of our favorite memories of Cubs pitchers hitting. For me, Zambrano obviously is the one everybody remembers, right? Like, he had 24 home runs. That leads all Cubs. Like 24 home runs. I have a question for you, a trivia question. Is his career slugging percentage or his career ERA higher?
Higher
is the number higher? Which one's higher, his ERA or his slugging percentage?
Slugging?
Just barely. A 396 slugging percentage, a 366 ERA.
Oh, wow.
And he was a switch hitter with 71 RBI. Like, he was that's one of the examples where I will say, and I've come to accept the DH, and I think it's fine. It'll be good for this Cubs team for sure. But he was, I will argue, he was just as fun or more fun as a hitter than he was as a pitcher, and he was a good pitcher. Yeah. When he came up to bat, I don't care where you were at Wrigley Field. I don't care if you were in the press box, a concourse, bleachers. Everybody stopped to watch that at bat.
Well, and I'm curious, like with the Shohei Ohtani rule, would Zambrano have taken advantage of it? The Cubs have, like, if Zambrano was playing this year, would they have let him hit for himself?
He would have tried to talk him into it.
He would have been standing on the steps with David Ross with the helmet on, the batting gloves. Like, if you want me, Skip, I'm ready to go.
They used him a lot to pinch hit. Like when he was playing.
He was
a good hitter.
If you go for just Cubs hitters, you want that could honestly Cubs pitchers that could be the Shohei Ohtani rule. Carlos Zambrano is the number one in my head.
I also love the way when he rounded the bases, it was like with such an attitude and anger that he was rounding it like, how dare you throw me that pitch? He was also of guys I can think of where you had to watch batting practice, okay? And you wanted to see somebody. Sammy Sosa is number one. Everybody watched Sammy take BP. Carlos Zambrano, for me, as a reporter on the field, was absolutely number two because he would swing like Javi Baez at every single – he was never trying to take it the other way, but you could just tell how physically strong this guy was. He would just rip home runs. Like, it was nothing for him to hit 6 home runs in a row in batting practice.
Wow.
And it's not the prettiest swing. He's just muscling the ball into the outfield with anger. And so for me, Zambrano's number one, but there's obviously a lot of other great pitchers that hit for the Cubs.
Per usual, I'm going to jump in and give credit to my guy, number 34, John Lester. Hit 3 home runs as a Cub. Started off with, I think the longest streak of not getting a hit. Ended up getting his first hit off of John Lackey. Hit 3 home runs as a Cub, all to the opposite field.
He had a pretty swing.
He had a pretty swing.
He really
did.
But
my favorite, I think, fact about Cubs pitchers hitting, 2016, Jake Arrieta had a 719 OPS, which was good for a 90 WRC plus. 100 is league average.
Yeah.
So you look at like Hayward in 2021, guys like Descalso, David Bodie, last year. Jake Arrieta, like, way better overall production. Like, if you're looking at some of those stats, he was a better hitter. Obviously, it's only like 70 plate appearances.
Right.
Still.
But the advanced metrics, like Jake Arrieta put up a better slash line than some position players the Cubs have been trotting out there for the last couple of years.
Physically, another big dude. And I was looking at the list in some of these, and I was trying to jog my memory a little bit, and they were pitchers hitting home runs were a big part of playoff success for the Cubs, including 2016. Like some of the better memories of the 2016 playoff and World Series run.
Travis Wood.
Travis Wood.
That was great. He was a
Arrieta
relief
against
pitcher.
the
Only
Giants.
grand slam for the
Yeah.
Cubs.
And Jake's was against
Pitcher.
the Giants,
It
right?
was off Bumgarner.
Yeah, off
Yeah.
Matt
That
Bum,
game,
yeah.
Off
I
Bumgarner's
wish-
unbelievable for it.
Yeah.
The comeback in that series is
Game 3.
unbelievable, but I wish that they had won that game because there's two moments in that game that kind of get forgotten because they don't win in that extra innings loss. Jake Arrieta's home run, and then Chris Bryant ties the game off Romo in the 9th inning.
Right.
A huge, he had so many clutch hits in the playoffs and obviously in the World Series.
Didn't Almora have a huge catch in that game too?
Yeah, to keep it
out
going.
in right field.
Yeah, so there's a few moments in that game that, we still remember. We're talking about them now, but they would have been
super heightened.
Right.
franchise
Legendary.
changing
They would have been
moments.
legendary,
Yeah,
yeah.
if they had won that game.
Cody's favorite hitting pitcher.
Who? What? Arrieta?
That's your favorite hitting pitcher.
Oh, are
Rick
you
Suck-
asking what mine was?
Rick Sutcliffe.
Oh man,
Red Baron.
If you follow me on Twitter, you know Rick Sutcliffe is number one on my list.
He did hit one, 84 NLCS, though, was that was one of the ones that the Cubs posted in their video. And he just had this really vertical way of running around the bases that was kind of mechanical.
Yeah.
He's just a big dude. That was a huge game one of the NLCS that for my childhood, that was like Kerry Wood, game 7. Same thing.
Obviously, I didn't get to actually see Sutcliffe hit as a fan growing up because I'm 30.
Way to rub it in. Thanks.
Sorry, Luke. You mentioned Kerry Wood, Game 7 NLCS. Travis Wood, like we kind of said. One that people forget. He didn't. I don't know how many homers he had, but Greg Maddux was he was finesse. If he got on base, he would sometimes steal a base when no one was paying attention, and he was one of the best bunters too. I know that's not hitting the ball over a fence or anything, but that was always something you just wanted your pitcher to be able to do was just get a bunt down or something like that.
Greg Maddux, obviously a Hall of Famer, he knew how to play baseball.
Right.
He wasn't the most physically gifted guy on the field ever, but he had the gift to be able to control pitches, confuse a batter, set up a batter, lay down the bunt, run the bases well. He was an all-around baseball player.
Well, and since we're talking bunts, I'm going to keep talking about John Lester. It is my shtick, but I live the gimmick. It's real. That game where he laid down the walk-off bunt
As a
against the
pinch hitter.
Mariners as a pinch hitter late in that game.
That's one of the greatest regular season games of that year.
The 2015-2016 runs were incredible. I went to so many incredible games. That was definitely one of the most fun nights at Wrigley Field that I can remember. And also in the summer of 2016, one of those moments where you're kind of watching things going okay, obviously this team is good, but there's something in the air.
And
here.
Travis Wood caught, didn't he make a catch out in left field
Yes.
that same game?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's just wild.
That's Joe Madden baseball.
Unbelievable
Yeah.
catch.
I'll say that out of that 5-6 year, just that run with the core, John Lester's bunting Jason Hayward home walk off, outside of just walk off home run straight up, that's probably the most memorable walk off.
Great call on
Of that
ESPN.
entire-
He
mine-
gets the bunt down.
As far as a pitcher, that's
Yeah.
probably one of the more memorable ones. I would disagree on
and
most
Steve
memorable
Cishek
walk-offs.
is
That's
involved in
not non-home
I think he throws
runs.
a wild
Okay,
pitch.
non-home
to
runs.
That I don't remember.
keep that game going. They score around. I'm pretty sure on Steve Cishek. So he was involved before he was involved.
One guy, that it was actually in the video, and it kind of makes me laugh, is Kyle Hendricks, who just
yeah.
he just did not want to be at the plate. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been surprised if Kyle Hendricks was like dragging his bat and like walking up to the plate. I don't want to be here, because even we asked him the first time we talked to him about if he's gonna miss hitting. He's like, I wish I could say yes, but I think you guys have seen what I'm featuring up there, so I'm very happy to put the bat in somebody else's hands and just worry about pitching. Like, he did. I mean, he got some, like, there was some, honestly, it was kind of funny when he'd get a hit, because he'd look into the dugout and everyone's going crazy that he like got a single on like a ground ball up the middle or something.
He had I think a 2 RBI bloop single off of Jeff Samardzija in that Giant series in the playoffs.
Something like that, maybe.
Yeah.
And the second
that's a good
RBI,
memory.
I think, is Javi Baez doing his Javi Baez base running thing and turning a.
Pedro Strop.
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, the last time we saw Pedro Strop take it at bat, it led to a big demise of the 2018 season.
Yes.
But when he did take at bats before that at bat, he looked like he knew what was going on up there. Like he kind of reminded me of Zambrano a little bit in the way that he walked to the plate and approached it and everything.
I don't know. This segment hasn't changed my mind. I'm okay with the DH, but
Same.
there's some great memories of Cubs.
It's fun when it happens.
I didn't see
fun when
Fergie
it
Jenkins
happens.
hit, but everybody talks about how great Fergie
Right.
was with the bat too.
Jason
so.
Marquis, home. I was a
Jason
grand slam.
Marquis,
I think.
Yeah,
Yep,
in the
yep.
comments, yeah. Someone said Rizzo just because he has a 0.00 ERA.
Well, he is a pitcher.
counts.
You
Yeah,
can qualify him as a
yeah,
pitcher at times.
Yeah.
That's true.
Guys, you're probably sitting here wondering, how did somebody twice my age fool me on April Fool's Day? And the answer is Strava Craft Coffee. If you want to start your day with a competitive edge like I do, Strava CBD Coffee is a game changer. It's helped thousands of people to improve their overall wellness and quality of life. Strava delivers delicious, fresh roasted specialty coffee infused with organic broad spectrum CBD. CBD from hemp doesn't make you high or hungry, but it does offer real benefits that can help you feel alert and focused without the jitters. Live your day more balanced with less anxiety, fewer aches and pains. Plus, CBD in your daily routine can help you enjoy a more restful sleep so you wake up feeling your best. And the best part, Strava's all about quality. Everything is small batch, fresh and shipped straight to your door. Strava also features concentrated full-spectrum CBD tinctures for those looking for a more traditional CBD format with a powerful entourage of effects of benefits. CHGO listeners can now save 25% on their entire purchase when they use the code CHGO25. That's 25% off your entire order of StravaCraftCoffee.com when you use the code CHGO25 at checkout. Discount coupon valid on non-subscription purchases only. One use per customer. Already love Strava? Well, subscribe and save with the Strava Coffee Club. Strava, you're in control. Save on your favorite coffees and have them automatically delivered to your home or office on your preferred schedule. Strava Coffee, give it a shot. Worked it into my daily routine with my AG1.
There you go.
I'm zipping around here like
You're 40.
I'm 40.
Someone mentioned Jake Bujanowski. I'm not sure if that's how you said it.
I think that's how you say it.
Kyle Hendricks, 4 1/3 inning, 4 home runs allowed. Again, we've talked about how spring training, like, take the results with a grain of rice because it's, you don't know what exactly he's working on that day.
Yeah, grain of
Is it
salt.
a grain of rice? Whatever. I
Grain of- I was going to let it go.
I said wrinkle feathers the other day, so my phrases are not up to date. Anyway,
It is,
Grain of
it
salt.
is with a grain of salt.
grain of salt, whatever. They're both pretty small. Anyway,
Grain of pepper.
shut up, Lawrence.
Oh, wow. Hey.
Yes,
Friday.
I love
Friday.
We had
this.
human resources around here.
I was just gonna say, you take them. Okay, you take them with a grain of salt.
Yes.
But you don't. You definitely don't want to see Kyle Hendricks give up 4 home runs in his last spring training start, especially because he wanted to get through 5 innings today. That was like his plan going from his first start was
he's
to get
just
through
saying
5
he gave
innings.
up 4 earned runs. I
No,
don't
he
know
gave
about
up 4 home runs.
Did he give up 4 home runs?
That's on the
fuck.
box score. So again,
Well-
he wanted to get through 5 innings at like his last start. He said that, and he only got through 4 1/3. So that's not what you want to see at the last start. But
no.
Yeah.
When he's bad, he's bad.
Yeah,
That's,
I think
that's a Kyle Hendricks.
right.
Maybe he's just working on something.
all it is it's all about location with him, right? So
when he's missing, it's he doesn't have the velocity to
right.
play around with misses. So
Let's end this podcast on a high note. All right? Baseball America, top rookies, 2022. Cody found this. They've got their ranking, and the Cubs have 2 guys in the top 10. Yeah. I mean, we talk about rebuilding the farm system. Mm-hmm. You have 2 guys in the top 10. Seiya Suzuki at 6, Brendan Davis at number 9.
Nice.
That, there's been a lot of negativity around Cubs Twitter for the offseason. That's where you can point to and say, you know what, at least I do see a future that is bright. Like I do see results from what they're trying to do in restocking the farm system and young talent on the team.
Yeah, Vegas is high on Suzuki. When I was looking up Rookie of the Year odds, he's one of the top 3 favorites to win. Yeah, makes sense because he is older than all the rest of the rookies. But yeah, it's just it kind of like what we were talking about yesterday when we were talking about X factors. We are expecting, home run total. I feel like a realistic outlook could be 20 to 25. But if this guy comes over here and just lights the world on fire, kind of like how Ohtani did, I mean, he could.
What did he hit last year? 38? Am I off on that?
Yeah, 38.
I feel like
yeah.
Japan he hit 38.
Right. And I mean, I know he had some injuries and all. You can't compare Ohtani to anyone, honestly. But the thing is with Suzuki is he hasn't seen any of the pitching here, but they haven't seen him either. I just feel like him being an X factor could really change the Cubs' season outlook. If he just destroys the baseball at a rate that we don't really expect or realistically look at, that could change the entire win total for them, considering the division that they're in now. If we're in the NL West or the NL East, I would not say that, but we're in the worst division in the National League. So,
He's got the skills, even as a rookie, even if he struggles to start, to put up the numbers that can have them in that Rookie of the Year conversation. Just the plate discipline and the ability to hit so many fly balls, especially at Wrigley Field. We've talked about he's going to put up home run numbers, I think, even if he struggles out the gate, which hopefully he doesn't. There's also the possibility he adjusts faster than the pitching and is just great. But I think the skill set that he has raises his floor compared to other rookies or other guys coming over. So I think he should be in that conversation.
Boy, if you had to, this is sort of silly, but if you had to say which one you're more excited about, Suzuki or Brendan Davis, that's a tough conversation. I think Cubs fans are pretty excited about both. I don't think they knew as much about Seiya Suzuki coming into signing with the Cubs, but now when you see him number 6 as all rookies going into base, it's a tough call.
We've been
I think
hyping
there's a
him
reason
up,
to be
man.
hyped about both.
When David Kaplan read that text to us from the Dodgers GM, and then see him hit that home run the other day, he looks like someone who is a guy. He's going to be here. He is part of the future. Next great Cubs team, Jed Suzuki, part of it. It seems like it, feels like it.
Yeah, well, I think the Suzuki home run and the Davis straight center field home run the night before, or 2 days, those are probably the 2 that got Cubs fans most, especially on Twitter, most hyped up. So, I mean, those are easily the 2 guys that Cubs fans are most excited about.
I don't know if he'll be up this year. He's starting at AAA, but I always like to throw out Caleb Killian. We talked about him before, but we're talking about pitching depth, who gets in there. If he goes and kills it at Iowa, I think there's a chance he makes at least some impact on this team, and he's really good.
I personally think he will be up. I think it's more second half for sure, but yeah, man, that Arizona Fall League he had was insane.
If him and Brennan Davis come up in July or August, whenever, I don't care how if this team's out of it, so what?
If they play well, it's a good season for you.
Right.
But when they come up, that's exciting stuff.
They'll give you a reason
future,
to.
Yeah.
Says Killian can shove.
Oh, he
Killian
can
indeed.
shove. That's
Rachel
right.
Killian can shove. Corey, Brendan Davis, and
He's a
Caleb
shover.
Killian. If Caleb shoves and Brendan Davis kills it, that gives you a reason to renew your season tickets again next year.
That's a good point. That is a good point. And
We'll see about that, Tom.
you're excited about Killian. You're excited about Suzuki. You're excited about Davis. But are they I don't think they're number 1 on your list. Most excited about somebody in the Cubs organization. Is it James Triantos?
Long term, it's always Brendan Davis. I think that's just in most of these conversations, he's just a given. Like he's really that good, and like whatever you want to say about him, like he's the truth, he's the future. But yeah, like Triantos is just so. The Cubs have a bunch of guys who it's really impressive. Like Ryan and I were talking. You got Reggie Preciado out there at second base today, spelling Madrigal. He's 18 years old, like playing in these games. Like these guys are impressive, and like Triantos coming out of high school, hitting this pitching the way he did in the fall, like those are tools where you're like, okay. You know, he's got years to go, but there's really something here. And there's a reason that the Cubs drafted him higher than I think a lot of people expected him to go. And he continues to prove that pretty much every time he's out there.
Yeah. Oh, no, they already got the prank up on Twitter.
Oh, perfect time to end the podcast. You can go to your social media accounts.
If you missed it, at CHGO_Cubs if you missed it.
It's been fun. You guys have a good time despite the prank? April Fool's joke? No, I can't even talk to me anymore.
No more donuts for you.
Yeah.
I feel
Never
I feel
forget,
terrible.
never forgive.
I feel terrible. Cody Delmendo, Corey Freedman, Ryan Herrera. I'm Luke Stuckmeyer. Thanks for listening. We are counting down to opening day, where we will have post-game shows for you after every game. Thanks for dropping in and checking out the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by PointsBet. Have a great weekend. Corey and Brendan will have another edition of the podcast for you coming up on Sunday night.
I think on Monday
morning.
We're going to have
First thing.
Michael Cerami from Bleacher Nation.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that to look forward to over the weekend, and then we'll see you next week.